Hello, everyone. This is Mother's Day. Another Mother's Day without my son. And yes, I cried today. But I'm here. And that's what you have to be. You have to continue on doing what you get some joy out of. Now, today I am continuing my second part to the video I made yesterday on depression. And I'm not using a script because I want to speak from the heart. Now, getting help and even respect for depression is next to impossible. Reality check. It's next to impossible. No one takes us seriously. No one takes depression serious. No one takes trauma seriously. In fact, I think no one takes us seriously some days. Now, the symptoms of depression are confusion. In fact, it reads like a grocery list. To include memory loss, grief, insomnia, don't eat too much, hygiene, whatever the case may be. It's horrible, but it affects all of us. And then you add the endless maze of bureaucracy of the court system. It is just so overwhelming. Now, it's been 6 years since my son was murdered. The man who killed him, yes, I have finally got him into prison. But I still have depression. And I found myself researching, again, therapist. And it's so complicated. It's so complicated. Not do you have technology today, which I did not have a few years ago. You're faced with a mountain of complicated paperwork, each form requiring you to make a phone call. You get led to a dead end of a computer generation question that make no sense to you and usually have nothing to do with you. And something happens, it doesn't work. Well, we won't talk about that. And on return messages. It's frustrating. First of all, most of us was not raised in the age of technology. As you can see with my gray hair. If we have grown children, we weren't raised in it. And the uncaring court system expected me not to care about what they were doing and tasked me with making funeral arrangements, which again was unfamiliar and confusing. I never thought I was going to bury my child. I thought he was going to bury me. Let's face it. Most of us have been associated with the justice system in no place other than TV. We know nothing about it. But we are victims and we are supposed to know and accept everything they say without even caring to be a part of it. And I know I've mentioned this numerous times. Please get everything written in an email. Beg for it, scream for it, demand it, whatever you have to do. You need to have that information. Why? Because when they write something down and they say something, you can come back and say, wait a minute now. Like in my case, I thought the man who had killed my son was in jail. Oh no. He was out riding around in his car and drinking and whatever he was doing for 10 months. Imagine if I lived down there. Was alone and met him on the street. Or his family, which I'm sure thinks that he just had an accident. Poor baby. He deserves another chance. No. Nada. Victims' rights states that we are supposed to be notified. But if we don't know that there are victims' rights, we're not going to be notified. Especially if you have a DA's office who just does not care, does not want you around is what it is. They want you to disappear so that they can just do their thing and get the case off. Your son or child is a case number. You have to take responsibility and find out about these things. And incidentally, he was arrested 10 months later. But guess what? He was bailed out. And he disappeared for another 6 months. So again, I was not notified. I found out on my own. I'm very proactive, which the DA did not like. Needless to say, he did not like that. But yet, I was suffering from depression and trauma. This is the reality. The reality is we have to get our big girl pants on. Again, there is no off and on switch for depression and for victims. It's a lifetime sentence. As victims, we must find a way to cope with this horrible depression that kind of creeps up on us and hits us like this when you least expect it. Now, I have found it's almost 6 years for me, as you know, when my son was murdered. Not killed, murdered. But you can't say that. In court, you have to say killed. I find it's less frequent. But it is a life sentence. And with me, how I manage it is by talking to you on here. Because nobody else is going to listen to me, only victims. Because they just simply do not understand. Now, you are expected to do this. Everything. While suffering through. Let's talk about shock, trauma. And by the way, shock can come in too. I know when I went to court, all of a sudden I was in shock. Then I came out of it. So that happens too. Depression. We are suffering from insomnia, confusion, memory lapse, and so much more. And called names like senile, crazy. Yes. I know everyone tells you need to have a therapist. Now let's get into that. Obvious, they never had to do it. It's next to impossible to get a therapist, especially to handle grief of losing a child. First of all, whenever you're looking them up, they all say the same thing. It's like they take the same template. They say nothing. What do they do? What kind of treatment do they do? Have they ever lost a child? And they handle everything. I'm sorry. That's it. That's if you can get hold of them, which is next to impossible too. They don't answer their messages. They have, oh God, it's awful. But anyway, if you have never lost a child, how can you help somebody just through terminology in a book? I'm an ex-ESL teacher, and I remember years ago having somebody just graduated from college, had this big title, one we had math PhD, I don't know what it was, probably higher and deeper, but anyway, he came in to lecture us old timers who had been teaching for years how to teach ESL students. It was obviously he hadn't taught ESL students. I had 30 or 40 different um, languages in my classroom at one time or another. It takes a special skill to do that. And what he was telling me did not work. It was impossible. He was quoting it from a textbook. He did not know what we went through on a daily basis. This is the same way with a lot of these therapists. And by the way, I was shocked to find out that therapists have a social work degree, a master's degree, and they may get a certificate in a specialized treatment, such as GBT and IMRA. One works with trauma, and the other, and I believe, works with depression. I am familiar with IMRA, which is a bunch of dots on a screen that bounces back and forth, and you follow your head back and forth with them. I understand some people it works for, and some people it doesn't. But when you're reading the description of the therapist and who they are, it's like they have a template. They all say the same thing. They don't say what they do, how they can help you, if they have lost a child, who their clients are. It's like a bunch of alphabet soup. I'll take that one. Or like Subway, I'll take that sandwich. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so negative, but I have had a horrible time with therapists. If I didn't even get a hold of this last time, I couldn't even get a hold of anybody. Nobody wanted to call me back. And I have insurance. But I don't mean to be negative. This is just reality. Now, I want to tell you that you have to find something in your life that helps you to get through this. You cannot depend on somebody else, a therapist or anybody else. If you're lucky to find one that works, I'm all happy for you. But in reality, most of us do not. Now, one thing that has helped me tremendously, of course, is this, because I can talk to you. And you can listen or not listen, but I can talk. I encourage you to do a couple of things. Sit down and write a letter to your child. Write a journal. It doesn't remove all the pain, but it can provide a sense of release, a glimmer of light in this darkness. Now, in a minute, I'm going to tell you what I wrote in my letter. But before we go there, I want you to think about this. You must find out what the trigger is that triggers you to start crying. Yes, I know it's your son, or your child, but it could be something else. It would be best if you found a way to handle your depression on your own, like I said. And again, I will say it again, over and over again. For me, it is this YouTube channel. Come on and join me. Write your story on here. No foul language, but write your story. I'm doing this because I know this is what my son would want me to do, because he always helped everybody. What did your child do? What did your child do in love? Do something like that. Now, Another way that I find release is through victim impact panels, VIPs. Now, these are court-mandated sessions where people who have been arrested for drunk driving but have not hurt anybody yet. Now, technically speaking, it's for them to go in and hear you talk about your experiences and not drink anymore and drive. That would be wonderful. But I don't know if it works or not. But I guess in some cases it does. But for me, I can go in there and I can tell them without having somebody say, no, you can't say that. I can go in there and tell them who my son was and how it has affected me. I can keep my son alive, and I can talk to somebody, let's face it, who has to sit there and listen. I can bring in pictures of my child. I'm doing a YouTube video, and yes, I have a picture of the crash scene where my beloved dog, or my son's beloved dog, Marsh, was thrown 500 feet. And it's gross. You can imagine. You can imagine what my son, too, when the car was nothing left of it. And I'm bringing in that picture. And then I'm showing who he was and what the world lost. Keep your child alive. This is one way that's going to help me. In fact, you can tell it I can call you up and put you on this if you want to. There are some guidelines, though. No cussing, no swearing, no threats. But I mean, this is one way that I am worrying. Advocacy groups. I have people who are working on that's influenced drunk driving laws, public campaigns, and research. The goal is to enhance safety for reducing drug impaired. Now, this takes forever, and it is extremely frustrating. I can't do this. Speaking to children, young children, teaching them not to get in a car with somebody drinking. They're drinking at what? Well, here in Las Vegas, I don't know what they're doing with our laws, but I mean, they're drinking at a very young age. And I know somebody that lost their child through Andrea's project is what it is. David goes around and talks to children to keep them from getting in the car. His daughter was killed by a drunk driver. Her boyfriend killed her. Bereavement groups, they're all over the place. Some people have found success with them. I haven't. Now, psychologists or psychiatrists, are medical doctors. Now, they can prescribe medicine and provide therapy. They usually treat severe mental health issues. Psychologist is a doctor in psychology, provides therapy, but can only sometimes prescribe medicines. Know who you're talking. Therapist, honestly, in most cases, they have a social worker's degree with to me, it's a catch-all area. That's my personal opinion and what I found out. I have not been, I don't know. Now, when you go on there, you're going to see licensed clinical social worker, which is LCSW, and licensed professional counselors. I don't know what they mean. It's so confusing, but you're supposed to know when you're reading it through depression, shock, and trauma. Now, you can also go to Psychology Today, Google it, and come up with some doctors that are in your area or therapists in your area that are on your insurance. Now, again, you must find the help yourself. What can help you? Now, what helps me? Now, years ago, I did find a therapist. This is before all the AI, all this computer stuff that we are all engaged in right now. And she did have an 8-week course in grief, and she did help me. she had me write this after the 8 weeks. She asked me these questions. And this is very personal to me, but this is what I wrote and how I answered and what helped me. And I'm sure Kenley wouldn't mind. Dear Kenley, I have been reviewing our relationship, and I am sorry you're not here to enjoy the fruits of your labor and success. I cannot see you marrying Melissa and being happy with the grandchildren I look forward to. Even though Hattie Elizabeth was never born, she will be my granddaughter. I am sorry I can't continue to travel with you and be a part of your life. You won't be here as I get older. I had always planned to be a part of your life, that you would be with me as I grew older. Now, this one is hard to answer because I had no idea that I was angry that Kenley left me and hurt. I do remember getting mad at Kenley's father, though, for dying one day. Kenley, I forgive you for leaving me and missing out on your life. Now, following our actions I was supposed to take to forgive the man who killed my son. Now, this one is tough, because I will never forgive the man who killed my son. Of course, there are a lot of people, especially in the strong religious people, who are saying that it would be better for me. If it's something you can do, do it. That is entirely up to you. But for me, I don't know if I can get in trouble for saying this or not, but he is just, to me, a pimple on a horse's behind. He's worthless. In his background, I mean, he has a horrible background, beating up his family, whatever the case may be. Honestly, if this had been a heart attack, black ice, I would have, but the man who killed my son is nothing but a damn drunk. And to this day, no remorse, and I cannot forgive him. I don't even care about him. He's in a Civil War prison that has no air conditioning in Texas. So be it. Kenley, I want you to know that I will follow through, get justice for you, make sure that you do not die in vain. I'm thinking of setting up a legacy to train dogs for veterans on PTSD. This I have not done, but I will get justice for you. And I did get justice for him. And I will continue to keep him in jail through a parole request and be there for his parole. Kenley, I love you, miss you, and I am so very, very proud of you. I wouldn't change anything except your death. I am grateful that I saw you graduate from medical school and find happiness with your soulmate, Melissa, and that I had 40 years with you. And I treasure every moment with you I have with you. I will always love and miss you. But now, my darling, I need to separate the pain from the loss. Goodbye, pain. Love, Mom. While this did help, the pain, the tears, and loss never disappeared. 5 years, the pain is still here, as you can see. As I've said, I guess I'm at a loss for words right now. But be careful, because this pain never goes away. You never know when depression will hit. Be it in the grocery store, theater, or right now, as I'm saying this. Yes, it is unfair, because we never asked for this horrible life sentence that we are given. But honor your child by living a life that would make them proud. This will be the hardest thing that you will ever have to do. I know it is for me, and I often wonder, will I be happy again? I realize for me now that a therapist is not going to happen for me. As I say, I must be put my big girl pants on. I must be happy. Today is Mother's Day. Another Mother's Day alone. But I did spend it with my son. I wish I had the answers. I only know what's happening to me. And I hope that me pouring out what has happened to me will help somebody get through this horrible time. And please, if you have a story or just want to talk, you can come on and talk to me through text messaging. Or, excuse me, come on here and talk through, well, I don't even know what I'm talking about now. But anyway, you know what I mean. Confusion, yes. But go on and live your life. That's what your child wants you to do. Your child is with you at all times. He or she speaks to you. Just listen. Mine spoke to me this morning and told me that he missed me and he loved me. That I know. And I know that he is here with me, behind me, standing with me. Find a way. Do not let this take you. Again, thank you for listening. And I am Sarah Rainey, the mother of Kelly Jean Rainey, who lost his life to a drunk driver, January 25th, 2019. The drunk driver's name, or damn drunk, and I'm going to call him that, was Dennis Abeta Jr. This happened in Lubbock, Texas, in a rest area called Shadow Water. Please, find a way. Thank you.